This video covers stage 4, and that stage is the interior detail, so still hard lines as opposed to rendering, but the last stage, in the video I made for the last stage, covered the exterior perimeter, i.e. the line of my shoulders and of my head, or the outside of my head. Whereas this video relates to the lines within the image of my body. So, for example, this line here is the line of my hair, and this line here is the line of my jaw. So I've already done all the points and all the lines because otherwise the video would just be way too long. So the first things you do are the hairline and the jawline, and in order to do these you use the same technique largely as was used in the last stage, i.e. a combination of the pencil measuring method and the cross-referencing method. So I'll quickly explain that in Dutch, and then I'll show you how I drew these two crucial lines. Oké, dus die video gaat om de vierde stage. Waarin je de detailtekenen die binnen de algemene beeld bestaat. Dus in de laatste stage tekende ik de punten en de lijn van de randen van mijn schouders en de buitenste van mijn hoofd. Maar in die stage doe ik de detail, de lijnen die binnen de beeld zijn. Dus bijvoorbeeld de lijn van mijn haar en de lijn van mijn jaw. Ik weet niet de Nederlandse woord. Dus die twee zijn de meest belangrijke startpunt. Dus de belangrijke startpunt die je moet doen voordat je alle andere detail kan doen. En ik heb alle punten en alle lijnen al gedaan, zodat het sneller is, maar ik ga een paar punten, ik ga nu aan je laten zien hoe ik die lijnen verzint heb. En ja, ik ga het in Engels doen nu. Oké, oh ja, en om het te doen gebruik je ditzelfde methode als degene die je gebruikt in de laatste stage. Dus een combinatie van vooral de pencil measuring methode en de cross-referencing methode. Maar alleen de eerste twee cruciale, je zal zien wat ik bedoel. Ik doe het nu. Okay, so I think the first point I did was this point here on the chin, and so I did exactly the same as I did in the last two stages. I positioned myself so that I'm in the position which is consistent with all of the measurements that I've made, and I hold out my arm and I measure from the side of the picture to this point here, where the side hairline and the top hairline join, and I measured it, and I multiplied by my scale factor that measurement 5 times to reach here, and I did the same here, and so I had my first point, and I applied the same method to this one. But also don't rely entirely on the pencil measuring method, because there's a margin of error. So look at it and think, and compare it to another point. So say, well, the point of the hairline should be about level with the connection of the ear and the jaw, and so just check it against another point. Okay, so I did a couple of points with primarily with the pencil measuring method, because you haven't got that much to cross-reference it to still. So got a couple of points down, but then the others just used cross-referencing. So you say, okay, well, this point over here is about level on a vertical. If you look vertically, it's about level with the connection between the shoulder and the cheek and jaw. And in terms of height, it's slightly lower than the point over here that I just made, but it's slightly higher than this one. So it sits between those two, and you can just pencil that in. And then this one here, I think I cross-measured as well. I pencil measured as well, this one here. But then this one you can just say, okay, so it's the bottom of this jaw. You have to look for the changes in gradients within the lines, and so you say, oh, this. I'll do the second half in Dutch actually. Okay, dus wat ik net in Engels aan het zeggen was, is dat ik heb de pencil measuring methode gebruikt om een paar heel belangrijke punten neer te zetten. Dus zoals D en D en D. Maar de andere punten van de lijnen kan je gewoon voor de andere punten kun je gewoon cross-referencing methode gebruiken. Dus je moet zeggen, oké, dus het is misschien dezelfde hoogte bijna als die punt, gewoon een klein beetje lager. En dan wat de breedte betreft, het is gelijk met bijna met die hier. Je kan die niet zien, maar ook die punt hier. En dan als je de lijnen ziet, je moet kijken aan, effectief, dit is een lijn, ja, maar binnen die lijn is 1 lijn, 2 lijnen, 3 lijnen, 4 lijnen, 5 lijnen. Effectief, zoals 5 lijnen, 5 verschillende maten, als je het zo kan zeggen, gradients. En dus je moet aan de lijn kijken en denken, misschien een derde van de weg naar beneden moet hij ingaan en dan terug uitgaan. En dan de tweede, tussen 2 gradients heb je een punt van verandering. En deze punten van verandering moet je gebruiken, moet je kijken, proberen de graf, probeer je de graf te voorstellen. En probeer hem te zien als een derde van de afstand van de één hoogte tot de andere. Yeah. So you use a mixture of pencil method measuring and cross-reference measuring in a similar way as was used to do the outer perimeter, and that's simply holding a consistent position of all your elements in your drawing and marking, holding the end of a pencil up against the point and marking your thumb against the side of a pencil, and then multiplying by the scale factor. It's that way or this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all that is. And then a slight cross-reference as a check. But once you've done these crucial lines, and you've got an image that looks like this, and you're starting to really see the face, you're starting to really see the person. Now, you can't. I don't think it's really a great idea to use the pencil measuring method after this, because it's too imprecise. For the facial features, you need to just look at the cross-referencing. But hopefully, if you've got these points accurately enough planned, and you've got lots of points from which you can to which you can make reference, then yeah, hopefully cross-referencing shouldn't be too bad. So I started with the mouth, so I've already done the points and I'm just going to fill them in quickly and go through the process of cross-referencing that I went through as I made the points earlier. So, started with the mouth, and I went for the left side of the lip, and I looked at it and I said, okay, so it's about the same, it's about level with this kink in the jaw. It sits just inside that. And in terms of height, it's just it's just underneath this connection between the shoulder and the jaw. So I said width just inside this kink here, height just underneath this shoulder, and I marked the points. That's the 1 point. And then I went to the other side of the mouth. I did the other end, and I said, okay, so this one is a bit higher than the other side. It's about level, instead of being a bit below, it's about level with the connection between the shoulder and the jaw. So in terms of height, it's about there, about level with that. And I said, I checked that against the cheek, I said that should be about halfway up the cheek, and it was. And then on the width, I said, it's just inside this turning point here on the jaw. So I've got my height against the shoulder, my width against the turning point of the jaw, and I made another point. Then I looked at the line of the lip between the two, and when I looked at that line, I saw about 5 or 6 different lines again of different gradients. So first I said, so what I tried to do is I tried to look at that distance again with a graph. There's a flat distance across the two. And I said, well, not very far at all along that distance is the first line. And it's basically flat. It goes slightly upwards, but it's pretty flat. And I put a point there. And then I said, about a quarter, or maybe a fifth of the way along the line, is another turning point. So there's another line within the line, and there's a turning point there. So it goes down to there, and I said it goes across to there, about a third of the way between the two endpoints. So it goes across to there, and then it goes down to here, to this point, which is about halfway between the two points, down to there, and then it goes slightly up, but mostly across, to a point about 3/4 of the way across, and then it goes very slightly down and up just at the end. So what these dots are is a series of turning points. So this is one line, but within the line exists a series of other lines, of gradients, and these points are the turning points in those gradients. So once you've done that, you can fill the line in. As I say, I already made these points earlier, so I'm just going over the top of a line that I've done in a lighter tone. So normally I would have, stared at that for a while and made those judgments. Okay, and then you've got the bottom. And yeah, so I looked at it and said, again, try and use the distance here, and I said about a third of the way across the distance is the lowest point of the curve. So about here, so that's your lowest point there. You try and line that up, it's just inside this turning point of a chin on a vertical. And then there's a significant change in the gradient here, just after the lip started. So it goes steeply down, and then comes more gradually across to its lowest point here, about 2/3 of the way across, and then starts to rise and then steeply up again at the end. So you've got to look at the gradients within the gradients. There's a gradient there, there's a gradient there, there's a gradient there. So that's the bottom lip. And then the line between the two, which largely follows the top lip, the gradients within it. So just in the process on those two, so it's not really necessary for me to do it again on this one. There you go, that's the line, it's the middle of the lip. Again, normally I would never fill them in so hard as this. It's just so you can see it on the video. Okay, so there you have the mouth, and look at it and try and look at the shape of the mouth and try and just see nothing but the shape of the mouth as if it's a 2D shape, and then look at yours and compare them, and yeah, seems okay to me. This seems a bit too bulky.